Welcome. I am Kiki McGrath. That is who I am. I am here to remind you of your own fucking superpowers and how you were right all along to this on the podcast. It is the Rich Hot Fun Mama podcast, and if you're listening to it on the YouTubes, it is just Kiki McGrath. .xo, I think, isn't it? If you watch this, please leave a comment about what you learn from it. Please share it around the interwebs. Please let it circulate its own life force, because speakers and truth tellers are reliant on us circulating their things around the internet. So I tried to use the old special light, but it kept making my phone spin around. So here we are. Every step is the right way, and you're never ever fucking it up. You are always on the right path. Now, there was a period of time where I was a lecturer in early childhood, and I felt like, is this fucking it? Like, is this fucking it? Is this where it ends? Am I going to do this for another 30 years like most other people in my space were doing? And I thought I was in like the wrong vocation, the wrong lessons, even though every single part of my path from like, I want to say from like my earliest memories from like 5 or so, I could see myself like working with women, working with mothers, reminding them to show up, reminding them to do all the things that feel good and fun and joyous to them. That is my puppy yowling. Maybe about to eat my AirPods. Sparkles. So I could see that of her, but after I had been teaching and in the early childhood space for a really long time, I became so disenchanted. By the time I'd had my own children, I was like, ew, what is this? And then I had a nanny, and I tried to send my kids to childcare, and I sent them to school. And sort of like every step along the way, I was being forced to look at what I was teaching in early childhood, which was predominantly like theory, play theorists, like the old school dudes, and development. For a long time as well, like leadership was my calling, and I was teaching these things and then going home and having a completely contrasting experience, and not understanding when I sent my kids somewhere why they were being looked after like that, even though I had taught that for over a decade, let's say. And so I was so disenchanted. And I was like, but this is my calling. This is my jam. And so while I was doing that, I worked as an online sleep specialist, like in an online forum, helping hundreds of women with their babies and sleeping. And the same thing happened. At first, it was really easy. It was really fluid. There is not a babe in this world that I could not have sleep 12 hours a night, fully breastfed, without all the kerfuffle. I am really great at that. I can still do it. I could have a baby tomorrow and I would just not be worried about that at all. It comes with a very much an easy process. But again, after I'd been doing it for a while, I was like, we're missing like a whole piece of the equation. You're asking me to only work like for the baby through the mother, but we were completely missing her role, and I wasn't allowed to talk about her role. So I was like, enough, I can't do this anymore. I'm so disenchanted with this space. You know, I had breastfed, never really I had bottle fed like one of my girls who was really small and stuff like that, but I had breastfed for 12 years, and I knew how to help babies sleep who were fully breastfed and all of those things. And no one else in the team could actually say that they had done any of that, even the person who kind of owned us. And I was like, you guys are still missing the point. So I'd had these two roles and they were kind of going at the same time, but it was just creating this stark contrast because my kids were like super happy, super easygoing, super like just chill. Like I did not find them hard at all. But I kept having these contrasting experiences and I was like, well, this is not my shit. I was meant to be a creative. I was meant to be different. I was meant to be doing it differently to everyone else. And so I started this clothing line with no experience and didn't find it that hard, but found it so hard to like show up all the time and be super passionate in it and like be in deep. It felt so surface level to me, even though I adored fashion and I wanted to have a creative outlet. I was like, well, like this is just not really me, but it is me. It is me because I love creative things, but it's not me. There's no, how do I speak my voice through this? And after a while, like I remember just thinking like, I want to coach online again. I want to speak online again. And I'd already retained some clients from even over that whole time with like sleeping and helping with like various parenting things that people felt challenged by and they wanted to see a new light or a new perspective. And then I moved into creating courses and I had an online membership and I was really like back in that space again and I felt like I was in my flow. I was like, oh, this is who I'm supposed to be. And I was really in that like parenting space, talking about how to show up as a mother, showing the fuck up, like still doing the things, seeing like children's behavior from a completely different angle. I have very different views and perspectives on almost all of those things: behavior, sleep, abilities, everything. I just see it from a completely different light and I have a gift of sharing that. But then again, after a few years of doing that, I mean, probably like mid last year, I was like, I don't want to talk about parenting things anymore. Like I feel like I've gone so far beyond the parenting scope. And what I want to like remind you, not that my history matters that much, but what I want to remind you is that you are always on the right path. And so even if your path has flipped and flopped and changed and shifted and rearranged, and maybe your kids were in school and maybe now you homeschool them and maybe you had a really good job and now you want a free-flowing job and maybe you got that degree and you don't want to work in it anymore, or maybe you go do something creative for a while, or maybe you just go and work at Kmart for a while and then you come back and sink your teeth into something else, but it was always the right path. The path is right. You never fucked it up. You never got it wrong. And it's the same in business. Like I've been teaching on the same things for a long time and I'm really good at them. I could still have any client walk through my door right now and I could have their baby sleeping like a beautiful snow angel within like a few weeks. But that's not where my heart feels called or feels pulled to. So I have to follow my own path and my own intuition of what feels really fucking good to me, without the hustle, without like breaking it all down, without like burning fire under everything. We just shift. And I think, you know, I don't have to declare it. And I'm going to talk to you about like, just because you want to do it differently or just because you want to go in a different direction, that's okay. You do not have to declare anything. You do not have to ask anyone. You do not have to go like, is this the right, like, what do you think? I came to this realization today, and I'm sure I've come to it like multiple times, but the lesson is going to keep slapping me, is that asking other people questions is just so irrelevant. Like, do you think we should do this with the house? I'm saying this to someone. And they're like, go off on this whole emotional tangent. And I was like, no, I just actually meant practically. And I was like, no, I'm needing to just have that conversation with myself, not with the world. And there's times where you need to have conversations with other people. I do group coaching, I do coaching, I do all kinds of things in those spaces, which is great and fun. And sometimes I need to open up questions to those people. But I don't have to make it truth or not. Because the one theory that I'm just so lit up to expire and for women to get rid of is that whatever your path is, it is not. There's so much banging. Prayers that I can get that out. Prayers. That there is just like no one else can tell you the path. When you come to me, I can say, here's the book of ideas. Here's the things that I might look at because you are guided to me for my knowledge. You know, when I have a one-to-one, it's like, here's the things I would open the door to, but it's you who has to decide. I am not your decider. And when you choose to read a book, listen to a podcast, or go into someone's courses and they're selling you a way, they're selling you a funnel, they're selling you how you set up your course, they're selling you on how to do your social media, they're telling you the templates. You know, I just don't feel like they work like your own source. Like it's not you have guides sending you on your way, and you're either going to listen to the guides or you're going to listen to fellow humans who haven't sorted out their own shit. And the only time you really need a formula is if you want to make a really good cake. Or, I mean, if you're a doctor or a nurse, maybe you need those formulas. But I mean, like, generally speaking, the only time you need a formula is when you want to make a fucking amazing cake. Because what is today's work that you need to do? So if you're in a business or in a period of pivoting, there's like a handful of things that you're likely going to have to do that you just have to show the fuck up for. I wanted to hire a new staff member. I wanted to change another staff member's things. I needed to get rid of, like, pass on some stuff. I had like all of these like icky, sticky, shifty, rearrangey, like challenging things for me. Like I've run a couple of really big businesses, but in the last few years, I've never realized like I've had to move stuff on at such a speed that it's uncomfortable. Like it's not nice and it's not easy, and I've had to do a lot of really uncomfortable things that require uncomfortable work inside as well, right? Like being clear on what I'm okay with and being clear on what I'm not okay with. And so what are you? Yeah, you. What is your message here? What is the work that you have to do and show up? What is the way that works for you? Because I like to do my work at 1 p.m. in the afternoon until 3 p.m. This afternoon, I got really shitty at one of my kids because they were like hammering me, and I was like, I am concentrating. I am doing the work that I need to do. I would really like it if you just leave me the fuck alone. I've just spent 6 hours with you at the beach. We've been to a cafe. We've had like a beautiful time, but this is my fucking time. And it is carved. It is carved with my fucking name on it. And that is my vibe. But let me tell you the other ways I've worked. There were times where I worked from 8 p.m. until 12 p.m. every single night in an online forum. There was times where my best work came at 5 a.m. What is your flow, your way, your state, what is your life calling you to do? And are you even willing to like actually listen to yourself? Because if I was to follow all the rules of like online coaching or online businesses, I would have had to put in so many fucking hoops for people to do my thing. There was even this time, like this is so dumb when I say it out loud, where I had been listening to this very specific coach who is great at what she does. She's obviously a very good teacher. She has very good results. I've been in a lot of online coaching spaces, and she was like, you have to do a sleep meditation. So these are like 8 or 9 hours to reprogram yourself, and you have to do it for 30 days or you will not ever hit your goal. And guess what? I cannot do those things because I somehow unconsciously knock out the headphones. And I tried and I tried and I tried. And then what I did, thanks to that teacher, not her fault, but my fault for being in the space in the first place, was like, okay, well, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to succeed. And if I didn't feel like I hit my goals in that space because of that. And so what are you actually listening to? Like, what are you downloading, right? If you went just to yourself, just to your source, just to you, you know, there's this saying, God graces you where he places you. So he's put you there, and he will grace you if you are willing. Are you willing to accept the graces? Are you willing to have, like, God, the angels, universe, someone else guide you on a path that nobody else knows? Oh, there's this other statement from the Book of Thomas. I am not a super religious human being in a traditional sense, but I've had a bit of a fascination from the Book of Thomas for a little while. Oh, I can't remember what it is. And the statement kind of comes along as, I can't remember the exact words, but it's sort of like you're given the gift of knowledge in this space and God will guide you on its way. You know, and a lot of the statements in the Book of Thomas do actually come back to that. But are you willing? You know, the thing that I'm finding is that women are really willing to do hard work. I know that you're really willing to do hard work, but what you're not willing to do is to sit with yourself, to create new speech and word patterns, develop new phrases inside that you repeat through your day that might be absolutely nothing like what you've ever heard before. Are you willing to meditate for 5 to 10 minutes to make yourself feel better? Are you willing to take the time to do what's required to get what you want? And not in the hustle way, but in the way of presence and hearing. Because it's really hard to hear when you never stop. Most of the time, women who are not getting their desires are not stopping to hear themselves enough. And, you know, funnily enough, in this place for me in Bali, it's actually way harder to hear myself. It is the noisiest, fumbliest, grumbliest place I've ever been in my life. And I rarely get a moment of like quietness and peace. So the practice or the art is just so much more important. Like, I have to be so intentional. Sometimes I do have to get up early in the morning to hear myself. Sometimes I do have to wait until it goes quiet and then hear myself. So I love you. Below, you can put like, just share, just be bold and share with me, especially if you're in the YouTube space. What is it that you're hustling through? What is it that you're hustling through that you know you need to sit and let yourself accept that you've done all the work, accept that you've got all the knowledge, accept that you've got all of the things, realize like how much you're like looking yourself over by trying to hustle,